Some of the people I have personally experienced while working in retail need to be studied. Because what do you mean you act like that? Why do you think that is okay? Like, if you have personally worked in retail, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know a lot of people probably had those one off experiences where you really sit down and you're like, what the fuck just happened to me? And like, was that reality? Because, wow. I have worked in retail most of my career, and I really wanted to come on here and talk about some of the experiences I've had while working in retail. So, the first experience that I want to talk about is an encounter that I had with a group of boys, and I was actually on a 15-minute break, and I had my vest off and I had it draped over my arm. And I was looking, I think it was in the spray paint aisle or something like that, but the aisle was kind of weird, so it was a little bit more crowded than the other aisles, but there was enough space for, coming and going traffic, right? So I'm sitting there minding my business on my 15, trying to quickly do whatever the fuck I gotta do. And these group of boys come up behind me. And I always know somehow I get unwanted attention. And I've always had this hypervigilance about myself when I'm in public due to just these experiences. And you'll see why. They're sitting there cutting it up and shit, talking about whatever, and one of them sees I had a vest and was asking me questions, and I was like, listen, I'm on 15. I can't really help you. But I will say it's on the side, blah, blah, blah. He was like, all right, cool. And then he was like, let me get by you real quick. But, there's enough way in the aisle. So I scoot up a little bit. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. But tell me why this man put his hands on my waist and like felt like he was trying to grind his groin across my back. You know what I mean? And like I flinched forward and immediately was like, what the fuck? Like, I know you did not just do that. And I went off on him and I was like, what the fuck makes you think you got a right to grab a female when you walk by her? Like, why can't y'all just keep your hands to yourself and just fucking walk like a normal person? But I was being loud, and I may have said some other choice of words in that sentence, that makes it a little bit more gruesome because of just the pure shock and disgust that I felt for somebody getting that close to me. I don't like physical touch. I don't like you touching me. And you're not doing it for no good ass reason either. But in the process of telling this man off, there was a supervisor not that far from me. And she walked over to see what was going on. And then I tried to explain to her what happened because, I got a vest. She sees that, she knows who I am, and tell me why this woman said it was my fault. And if I was caught talking like that to another customer, that I'd have a write up. A write up because I'm correcting somebody for putting their fucking hands on me. That's crazy work. And honestly, it was like after that experience, it just kept getting weirder and weirder. So the next experience that I've had is kind of stalkerish. And I'm not going to say names or anything, but I do want to give you some detail and a little bit of a backstory so you can understand why I know this person and how this person knows me. So, I had a very toxic first love relationship, and my mom packed her things and moved out in the middle of the night, and he took me in and let me live with him. But it was a very toxic environment, very toxic relationship, and I had to find a way out of it, which is why I got the job. And as soon as I started making money, I packed my bags and I left. And he was born and raised in that town, okay? He's cousins and friends with almost everyone there. So I knew I was going to run into some of his folk. I just didn't know when and where or what it would be like, right? I'm at the register, I'm checking people out, and his cousin's boyfriend happened to come into my line. And he knew me through my ex, and he would talk to me occasionally, and he was always really cool. He gave like fun uncle vibes. He was like in his 30s. I was 18, I kind of looked up to him. He was a cool dude. Well, whenever he came through my line, he was like, I'm so disappointed that happened. He should have treated you better, yada yada yada. Well, his wife and kids are right there next to him, right? So I'm thinking this is an okay conversation. And his wife and kids go to walk away, and he kind of turns around coming back. So I'm like, I done did something wrong, like whatever, gave back change wrong, I don't know. So I kind of like turn to him to see what he needs, and he leans into my ear, bitch. And this man says, I want to kiss your lips, the one in between your hips. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Not it. What the fuck do you mean, dude? Like, this was a decent conversation that you had to make fucking weird because you are a fucking weirdo. Your wife and kids are right there. I'm 18, you're like 30 something, and you're over here reciting fucking music lyrics into her ear. Like what the fuck? It cringes me out so bad. And the only reaction I had in that time, because I'm 18 and I'm working, is like, but I couldn't even fake laugh because I was so grossed out and so like weirded out by this conversation that I just kind of ignored it. I dissociated. I was like, yeah, fuck that shit. I'm just act like that did not happen, and I carried on with my little work day until some time later. It was actually like a year later, and I already got a new man. I'm happy. I'm chilling. I'm not at register no more. I'm going now to the bakery and the deli, right? My manager has me putting these expiration dates on the deli products and the bakery products. So I'm just sitting there, I'm chilling. I'm putting on these tags and stuff. A person was standing next to me, and I was ignoring him, not looking at him. And then, because in my head, I was like, maybe I'm in his way. You know what I mean? So I pick up my stuff and I move down so he can get in this area if he needs to. Again, I'm not looking to see who it is because I don't care. I'm just trying to do my job. So he finally speaks up and he's like, hey, girl. And I immediately, like, whenever you hear that and you're like, fuck, man, like, damn it. And I turn around, I'm like, oh, hi, blank, you know, do you need help with anything? Can I find something for you? Keeping it work related, you know what I mean? And he was like, no, it's fine. I'm just, I wanted to come talk to you. It's been a while since I've talked to you. Are you avoiding me? Yes, I am avoiding you. But I'm like, I'm just busy. I'm working. I also threw the fact in that I had a man. I was like, me and my man have just, we've been doing our own thing. And just to see if he would kind of catch the hint. But of course, the hint was not catch. It actually went right the fuck over his head. So he stayed there. And he kept trying to make small talk with me. And I kept ignoring him with yeah, yeah. Well, I'm really busy. I hope you have a good day. I need to continue doing my job. My manager's actually over there watching me, right? And he was like, well, actually, I wanted to ask you about something. And I'm like, okay, what is it? He's like, well, I heard that my ex was going to his wife about a threesome. And I'm like, what? And I am bisexual, but it was not like I didn't want to fuck nobody in his group or him. Like, like ew, like I got a man, I'm not into that shit. And I told him straight up, I was like, yeah, no, that's I don't know why, because also that's his cousin, so that's really weird. But thank you for telling me. And if you hear him telling anyone that, you should tell him to shut the fuck up and like not say that because that's weird. And he was like, yeah, I know, man. I thought the same thing, blah blah blah. And I was like, whatever. And then he came up to like right beside me, and he started to reach his hand out, and I have my apron tied. He was trying to untie my apron and like pick at me and like try to physically touch me. And like y'all know from earlier story, I don't like being touched. I'll start to get really pissed off whenever someone who I don't want to touch me is trying to touch me. So then I bring up the fact that I have a boyfriend again. I'm like, yeah, my boyfriend should be here to pick me up for lunch soon, blah blah blah. And I made an excuse to leave the area, and I was like, I need to go behind the counter and start working, right? So I get my shit and I go behind the counter, and my manager's sitting there over there in the corner, and she sees me and I see her, and I'm like, listen, this dude won't leave me alone. I told him that I had to go multiple times. I don't want to be out on the sales floor. Can I be behind the counter? Which she also knows my man at that time. So she was like, yeah, he was going to take over on the sales floor, and I was allowed to stay behind the counter, and I was putting ties on bread. So all I did literally was just ignore the fact that he fucking existed and put my head down, and it was tying bread. And a lot of time had passed. I was sitting there watching a full episode of Bailey Sarian, and my manager comes up and she says, "I'm starting to get really uncomfortable because that man you were talking to is still standing out there just staring at you, watching you work. And he's been there for an hour now." And I looked at her and I was like, no fucking way. So I like, whenever you do like a peep where no one can see that you're trying to peep, he was standing over by the deli bar, just staring at me, watching me work over the counter. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, call the store manager. I don't give a fuck. Like, get this motherfucker out of here. I'm uncomfortable too. Like, what you mean? And she was like, okay. So she gets on the phone. And while me and her are distracted, trying to, come up with a plan, He had walked away from the spot and went to the drink aisle, broke open a Capri Sun drink thing, brought it back to the counter. Me and her are in the middle of a conspiracy, and this motherfucker says, "Hey." So we both jump and turn around, and he's at the fucking bar with this goddamn Capri Sun in his hand. And he's like reaching across the bar, like, "I got this for you. I want you to have this. I want you to drink this." And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, no, I'm not taking anything from a customer over the counter. I will get fired. My manager's right here. I'm not taking that. And at first, bitch didn't speak up for me. She didn't say shit. And then it took like the third time of me telling him no for her to be like, listen, we have already called the store manager because of the way your behavior has been towards her. Like, you need to stop. And then he stepped back and he put the Capri Sun down and he walked off. And the manager came walking up, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is a short gay man who I was 100% sure was obsessed with my man, my husband. And he came up there and he got a hold of my husband. And I got a hold of my husband and told him what was happening. And at the time, he was not my husband, though. He was my boyfriend. But we did tell him, like, hey, this is happening. Angie's got a stalker, kind of like, you should come down here. And he took me through that whole store, made me walk through all the aisles to find this fucking dude because he wanted to personally like kick his ass out, and we could not find him. He already left the store, and I was told to immediately call security or the police if I was to see him again because of his behavior. And they don't know if he put something in the drink. They don't know if he was just trying to be really weird and like lure me close to him. It was just all really fucking weird. And that has changed my perspective on working in retail and the people that you meet in retail. When I was working late at work one night, I had a guy who tried to scam me out of money, and he gave me a $50 bill out of a 99-cent bag of chips. They'll ask you for a lot of change, but they want it in the smaller numbers, like this amount of ones, this amount of this. And he was like confusing the fuck out of me. His 50 was real, but he was confusing me so bad that I could not understand what I was doing. So I threw all of my money in my drawer, and I closed my drawer and paged my manager, and I was like, I'm just calling my manager over here because I'm getting too confused. He picked up his bag of chips and he walked out. Now, mind you, whenever we were talking before this, he asked me, he was like, damn, how late are you here till? Because we would close at 11. I was like, well, the store closes at 11, so I'll be leaving out here soon. I had that motherfucker waiting for me in a parking lot. When I walked out, because I had to close, I was leaving late. I confirm actually 100% that this was actually him. But the behavior, it was like it was someone who was waiting for me. Because as soon as I walked out, I walked all the way to my car, and I have a taser in my hand. A lot of people, I'm not a shy girl. I have a gun in my car, I have a taser in my hand, and I know how to fight. I'm always prepared. And it is due to trauma. And this car followed me down the parking lot because it was parked off to the side. As soon as I walked out, it followed me down the parking lot, parked. I got into my vehicle, and I was hoping, I waited a little bit to see if this car would leave, but this car did not leave. As soon as I pulled out to leave, it pulled up right behind me. And this car was following me for a hot minute until I ducked the fuck off. And I had my husband on the phone the whole time, and I was like, I think it's this guy who was trying to scam me out of my money. Like, I think I pissed him off. He waited for me because the behavior was fucking weird. And the only person who I told that night that I was getting off at this time was him. So it's like, it was just a weird chain of events. But this isn't even it. I have so many weird story times while working in retail, not just at Walmart, but like Circle K and all these places. Whenever you are in retail, you are open to so many weird experiences, so many vulnerable situations that you will be put into. It's fucking nuts. But I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. I have a lot more to tell. If you guys have anything similar that has happened, put it down in the comments. And if you want to hear the other story times that I have, hit subscribe and follow. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye, guys.